might have heard this before. I heard this song for the first time about 10 years ago when I heard Arlo do it himself at the 50th anniversary concert. It's a really nice song, a good story, and it's just the perfect time to sing it around Thanksgiving, so I'm going to sing it for you. But for those of you who haven't heard it before, this song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But you see, Alice's Restaurant was never the name of the restaurant, it was only ever the name of the song. And that's why I guess to this day I still call the song Alice's Restaurant. It goes a little something like this. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. It all started 60 years ago on Thanksgiving. That is Thanksgiving 60 years ago when my friend and I decided to visit Alice at the restaurant. But you see, Alice didn't used to live in the restaurant. She used to live in the church nearby the restaurant in the bell tower with her husband Ray and Fasha the dog. And they had a lot of room downstairs, seeing as they lived in the bell tower, where they had taken out the pews. So, seeing as they had all that room downstairs where the pews used to be, they thought they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long, long time. So my friend and I, getting up there, seeing that the place was filled with garbage, we thought it'd be a friendly gesture to take the garbage down to the town dump. So we gathered the half a ton of garbage into the back of a red VW microbus, got shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed on towards the town dump. But when we got there, there was a sign across a chain on the road saying closed on Thanksgiving. Well, we had never heard of a dump closed on Thanksgiving before, so with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one until we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road was a 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage. Well, we thought one big pile would be better than two little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. So that's what we did. We went back to the church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep, and didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obi. He said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage and was wondering if you had any information." I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obi, I can't tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." Well, it wasn't until after talking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone that we finally came to the truth of the matter, and Obi said we had to go pick up the garbage and come talk to him down at the police officer station. Now, friends, there was really only one of two possibilities of what would happen when we went to talk to Obi down at the police officer station. And the first possibility is he would have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And the other possibility is he would have bawled us out and told us never to be caught driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But friends, when we got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon. We were both immediately arrested, handcuffed. I said, "Obi, I don't know how you can expect me to pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." So we got in there and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. Friends, I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this took place. They used to have 5 stop signs, 3 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers, 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everyone wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. They were using up all kinds of cop equipment they had lying around the police officer station. They took plaster tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints. They took 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. They took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, not to mention the aerial photography. Well, after this whole ordeal, we went back to the jail, and Obi said he was going to put us in the cell. He said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. Give me your wallet and your belt." I said, "Obi, I can understand what you want my wallet for, so I don't have any money to spend in the cell. But what do you want my belt for?" He said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." I said, "Obi, did you think I was going to hang myself for littering?" He said he was just making sure, and Obi was making sure all right, because he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't slam myself on the head and drown, and he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bar, slide the toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll, get away, and make a big escape. Obi was making sure all right. Well, I was there in the jail for 4, maybe 5 hours. Finally, Alice came by. Remember Alice? This is still a song about Alice. Well, she came by, and with a few nasty words to Obi on the side, she bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church, had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep, and didn't get up until the next morning when we had to go to court. We walked in there and sat down. Obi came in with those 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. He sat down. A man came in and said, "All rise," and we stood up, and Obi stood up with those 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows, and the judge walked in with a seeing eye dog. He sat down. Obi looked at the seeing eye dog and at the 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs, and he looked at the seeing eye dog. And friends, Obi began to cry, because he'd come to the realization that this was a typical case of American blind justice, and there was no way the judge was going to look at those 27 8x10 colored glossy well, it didn't matter, because we were fined $25 each and had to pick up the garbage in the snow. But you know, that's not really what I came here to tell you about. Just thought I'd mention it. What I really wanted to talk to you about was the draft. Because you see, we used to have this thing in the United States called the selective service, where if you were a guy and you were 18, you would have to select a kind of service that was of interest to you. Well, if your choice was none of the above, they'd help you out and select for you. In order to do that, they had these buildings all over the country. They had one in New York down on Whitehall Street where you'd go in and get inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I got a call one morning saying it was my turn to go in for my physical examination, so naturally, I got good and drunk the night before, because I wanted to feel my best when I walked in there. I wanted to feel like the all-American kid from New York, so I got good and drunk. I walked in there, I was hung down, I was brung down, I was hung up, I was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. I walked in there. They gave me a piece of paper that said, "See the psychiatrist, room 604. I walked in there. I said, "Shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to see blood, guts, and veins, and my teeth eat dead, burnt bodies." I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill," and then he started jumping up and down, and then we were both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill, kill, kill," until the sergeant came in, pinned a medal on me, and said, "You're our boy." Didn't feel too good about that. But I proceeded on through, getting all kinds of inspections, detections, injections, neglections, all kinds of stuff they were doing to me at the thing there, all kinds of horrible things. They was inspecting every part of me and leaving no part untouched. I was there for 3, maybe 4 hours. Finally, I came to the last room. I went in there, I sat down. The man was there, he said, "Kid, we only have but one more question for you. Have you ever been arrested?" So I proceeded to tell him the story of the Alice's Restaurant Massacree with full orchestration, 5-part harmony, all kinds of other phenomena. He stopped me and said, "Kid, Did you go to court? So I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with circles and arrows. He stopped me and said, "Kid, I want you to go sit over there on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." I went over there. Group W is where they sent you if they suspected you might not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special crime. They had all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly people on the bench. I mean, there was mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers. I mean, there was father rapers sitting right there on the bench next to me. I mean, these was real mean, horrible crime type guys, and the meanest, nastiest, ugliest one, I mean, the meanest, nastiest father raper of them all was coming right up to me, and he said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $25 and pick up the garbage." He said, "No, what was you arrested for?" I said, "Littering." And they all slid away from me on the bench there. I don't know why. They're all giving me the hairy eyeball and all kinds of stuff. Until I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all slid back and shook my hand, and we had a great time sitting on the bench talking about mother stabbing, father raping, all kinds of groovy stuff we were talking about on the bench there. We were smoking cigarettes and having a good time. Until a sergeant came over. He had a piece of paper in his hand. He held it up. He went like this. He said, "Kids, this piece of paper's got 37 words, 48 words, 28 sentences. We want to know the details of the crime, the time of the crime, any kind of thing you got to say, pretend to do about the crime. We want to know the rest of the officer's name, any kind of thing you got to say." And he talked for 45 minutes, and nobody understood a thing of what he said, but we had fun playing with the pencils, filling out the forms there. I filled out the massacre like I was supposed to, and then I turned over the page, and on the other side of the page, I will never forget this, away from everything else, on the other side of the page, right in the center, underlined, capitalized, and quotated, in bold, read the following words: "Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself?" I went up to the sergeant. I said, "Sergeant, you've got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I am moral enough to join the army, burn women, houses, villages, and children after being a litter bug." He said, "Kid, we don't like your kind. We're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington." And friends, they're still there. Somewhere in Washington, enshrined in a folder, is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And that's really the only reason I'm singing you this song today, is that you might find yourself in a similar sort of situation. Or you might know someone in a similar sort of situation, being collected and all. Goes by different names, but they're still doing it. They're still collecting. I don't know. Maybe you were making the wrong kind of protest on a college campus, or you said the wrong thing online, said the wrong thing on your talk show. I don't know what you were doing, but somehow you found yourself in a collection. If that describes the situation you're in, there's really only one thing you can do. Well, there's perhaps nothing you can do, but there's certainly something you can try, and that is to just be wherever you are. Just walk in, go see the shrink, ask to see the shrink, say, "Shrink!" You walk in there, you say, just like this, it's really simple. "Oh, shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant," and then you walk out. They'll probably throw you out of the building, think you're crazy, but can you imagine if you had a friend with you? You went in hand, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant in harmony and walking out? No doubt, they'll throw you out in that case too, but can you imagine 10, 15 people? 20? I don't know. They might think that's some kind of organization, you going in there singing a bar of Alice's restaurant together, walking out. But can you imagine 20, 30, 40, 50 people? Can you imagine 50 people a day? I mean, 50 people a day walking in all across the country, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out. Well, friends, they might think that's some kind of movement. And that's what it is. The Alice's Restaurant anti-Massacree movement. That's what it has always been, that's what it still is, and that's what it always will be. And all you gotta do to join in is sing along the next time it comes around again on the guitar. Here we go. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. No. I imagine a lot of you weren't actually singing there. I'm actually asking you to sing along. I know that it's a video, it's a little bit awkward, but if you want to end war and stuff, you want to change the world, you gotta actually sing out loud and sing loud. I know some people don't think songs can change the world. I don't blame them, I get it, but you can't complain that the song didn't work if you weren't one of the ones singing. It's an old-fashioned prisoner's dilemma, right? So I'm gonna play it again, and I want you to actually sing this time. I know you're alone, I know you're sitting there at your computer, on the toilet, on your phone, I don't know what you're doing, but you think it's awkward because I'm not watching you, no one's there to see if you're gonna sing, but hey, that's the most important time to sing, right? It's not when you think you're being watched and it's expected of you. Sometimes the most important time is when you think nobody's watching. So I'm just gonna keep waiting for you to sing. I've been playing this for what, 30 minutes? I could play for another 30 minutes if I have to. I'm not proud or tired, so the next time it comes around again on the guitar, I just want you to sing along with feeling this time, okay? We're just waiting for it to come around again. That's what we're doing. Here we go. Get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, at Alice's restaurant.